Thank you. Rory Jones. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. I'm a little bit new to this, but I'd firstly like to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your evenings. I know you all have families, and I really appreciate being here. I'd like to reiterate what Sam said. I live in St Martin's in South Christchurch, and I've found that by far the quickest way for me to get to my flights is to cycle. On a normal bike, it can take me 45 minutes to get from home. We've just changed one of our bikes to electric bikes, and I can get from home to the airport in, my record's 23 minutes.
Wow.
Which you can't do in a car, and it's a beautiful ride until you get to Memorial Ave, because you're crossing through, you come through our wonderful new city that has been developed, and then you get into Hagley Park, and you scoot through Hagley Park, and then you're straight line down Memorial Ave. And when I talk to my friends, more and more people are trying it and learning the wonders of cycling to the airport. It makes a big difference. But the reason I'm here tonight is that I would like to commend the council for a lot of the work they're doing. I'm self-employed. 95% of my customers are in the Northern Hemisphere. My parents and I grew up in Auckland. My parents still live there. They'd love me to live in Auckland, but I live in Christchurch because I love living in Christchurch. And one of the reasons I love living in Christchurch is that I can get pretty well to any of my suppliers around the city in 20 minutes on my bicycle. There are not many other cities in the world where that is possible. So these cycle routes that you're providing are useful and well appreciated. So thank you very much. Yeah. The only slight comment that I'd like to say is that as a regular user of bikes around town and cars, I find Bryme Street can be a scary place. You can feel quite, it can be scary in a vehicle, even with the trucks thundering up and down there. And I don't know what a solution is, but I know there are railways around the place, and whether it would be possible to get stuff from the port onto railways out to Rolleston or Kaipoi, where they could then be trucked away. I think that would help further improve the livability of this wonderful place called Christchurch.
Yeah, well, we've taken some heart from the government sort of signalling for the next GPS that that rail comes into the picture. So we're certainly very hopeful in that regard. But did you have a question around Bryme Street? Because I know that's your baby.
I could ask one, because one suggestion to us, besides having I guess more lights at intersections, was to have graded separations, which would mean that how there's a big high overhead bridge, say for example at Barrington Street, that NZTA would put in graded separations at every intersection. Yeah. So just alternatively, of course, there'd be changes like, for example, taking up the parking and adding to the number of lanes available, as well as the freight, shifting the freight onto the trains as you suggested. So I just wondered what sort of options you think might be best in terms of that, of say having still retaining an integrated community.
Definitely, the cycleways that are through there are greatly improved. They do get a little bit confusing as you get sort of outside the school along at Addington School. It's not 100% clear. Like, I just ride along the footpath because the cycle lane disappears in front of you. No one's questioned me on that yet. But and because I'm often going down there and then I turn down Strickland Street, so it doesn't make sense to cross Bryme Street to then recross Bryme Street again, sort of a couple of 100 metres down. Yeah, the separation's good. And my main comment about Bryme Street was that in the car, often you feel as though you're sort of in the car and there's sort of towering trucks sort of roaring around you, and like I say, I think you guys are doing a great job with cycleways, and it's definitely made lots of areas of the city more accessible. So
Sarah, lucky last question.
Just very quickly, and I do agree with you on Brougham. I bike on Brougham frequently, and it's not pleasant.
No.
So you've talked about prioritising cycleways. You're aware that they've currently been pushed out for 10 years in the long term. So you'd like that funding brought back to the original time frame, if possible?
Well, obviously.
Yeah, just checking, make it clear.
Yeah, I mean, they're great, and one of the things that I really enjoy about cycling is that you can interact with the community. If you're driving around in a box, I find you don't meet people on the road, but on a bike, it's great. Like, you know your neighbours heaps better, and you see the kids at school. You sort of, yeah, it's valuable. It's outside of the raw numbers that transport planners might give you. Like it builds community, being present on the street. So I'm advocate for cycling. I'm also advocate for the accessible city that we have. Yeah, my business takes me overseas, and the places that are most pleasant to be are the places that you can walk around. Christchurch was an oversized sort of town, and with the changes that are going on, it's becoming a true city. So, yeah, thank you.
Very good. Well, look, that's a really good note to end the evening on. So thank you very much for coming along and contributing to the LTP consideration.
I've heard some negative stuff over the while, so.
That's a good idea. It's a nice way to end the day. Thank you.
Thank you, people.
All right, now I'm going to adjourn this meeting until tomorrow morning at 9:30.